Donald Trump has faced some backlash following a statement he made during a Fox News town hall. Now, it had to do with COVID-19 and how he would provide aid to various states. And apparently, when he made it abundantly clear that he was willing to provide aid to governors who were nice to him, people didn't like it. And so he's now trying to defend himself. And before I give you his defense, I just want you to hear exactly what he had to say word for word, and then I'll tell you how he's trying to, clean up his mess.
Governor Newsom and I have been getting along really great. We're sending the ship, the great hospital ship, as you know. And we are doing very well with, I think, almost all of the governors. For the most part, I think we're doing very well. But, it's a two-way street. They have to treat us well also. They can't say, oh, gee, we should get this, we should get that. We're doing a great job, like in New York, where we're building, as I said, 4 hospitals, 4 we're literally building hospitals and medical centers. And then I hear that, there's a problem with ventilators. Well, we sent them ventilators, and they could have had 15 or 16,000. All they had to do is order them 2 years ago, but they decided not to do it. They can't blame us for that.
So he's implying, like, look, it's a two-way street. If you want help, you got to be nice to me. You got to be loyal to me. And I'm glad that there was backlash, and I'm glad that he felt the need to try to defend himself. But I think that his defense fell flat. Via Twitter, he wrote, "I'm working very hard to help New York City and state, dealing with both mayor and governor and producing tremendously for them, including 4 new medical centers, 4 new hospitals, fake news that I won't help them because I don't like Cuomo. I do." And then he says, just sent 4,000 ventilators. Well, look, I think it's important to hear from Cuomo to see whether Cuomo feels like he's been helped sufficiently. And as we know, New York has become the epicenter for COVID-19 in the United States. So they desperately do need that help. Let's take a look.
At the rate they are going, it is not happening. FEMA says we're sending 400 ventilators. Really? What am I going to do with 400 ventilators when I need 30,000? You pick the 26,000 people who are going to die because you only sent 400 ventilators.
So it looks like Cuomo isn't pleased with the help that he's received. And by the way, he shouldn't be. Most people in this country shouldn't be. Donald Trump clearly had a very late response to this. He thought it was nothing more than a hoax, didn't take it seriously. And that's part of the reason why we're in the mess that we're in.
Yeah. I mean, Trump's comment was wrong, offensive, everything in multiple different ways. The idea that he's now saying, well, they should have known they would need 10 times the ventilators they have under normal circumstances. They should have known that 2 years ago. They should have done what I did, stuff involving pandemics. Like, they should have ordered that when I was, getting rid of the pandemic response team. I was making moves. Why didn't they make moves? Just utter madness. It's a disaster. It's like if Mexico invaded Texas, Texas should have planned for this a couple of years ago. We're not going to do anything about it. We're not going to move in to help them. Like, the numbers are, I'm looking at the numbers right now. There are more than 10,000 new cases so far today, more than 140 new deaths just today. He's mentally checked out. He's done with this. It is an imposition on him. Every question from every reporter that implies that there's still a problem going on, he is clearly just done with answering these sorts of things. And it's inconvenient that New York continues to have thousands and thousands of new cases. He doesn't want to deal with that. He's not sending the number of ventilators that he said. The 4 new hospitals they're building, they're setting up stuff in the Javits Center. They're not building 4 new hospitals. And he is just continually so impressed with himself. Every other sentence is the great job that we're doing, how great we're doing. He said more positive things about the job he's doing in that press conference than I've said about myself or my work in literally my entire life. And it never ends. He is so he doesn't have any hands free to deal with the emergency because they're both constantly patting himself on the back.
Definitely. And I'm not surprised that he would make that kind of statement. And I don't doubt for a minute that if it weren't for the backlash that he's receiving right now for that statement, that he would put action behind his words. Because think about how punitive his tax legislation was towards states that are obviously overwhelmingly Democratic, like Democrat voters, right? So New York has a high, tax, state tax, same with California. And the way that legislation was written was specifically meant to punish them tax-wise because of their voters. State taxes used to be tax deductible for federal taxes. Now it's been capped. And so a lot of people are paying way more in taxes in some of the blue states. And I have no doubt that that was purposely meant to punish people who don't generally support him. That's the kind of person Donald Trump is. There's no question about it. And of course, in the meantime, he gave corporations, $2 trillion in tax cuts.
Yeah.
So, and then one other thing I just wanted to quickly mention. I wonder about Trump supporters who are loyal to him no matter what, because he went from claiming that COVID-19 is nothing more than a hoax, that it's just like a smear campaign to try to hurt his chances of reelection. And then when he realized that he couldn't do that because this problem wasn't just going to go away, he changed his tune and pretended to start taking it more seriously in like these press briefings and everything. Mm-hmm. What I want to add, and this is a genuine question. I don't know if there are any Trump supporters, Trump loyalists watching this. I'd be shocked. But if you are, how do you trust him after he clearly lied to the American people? You're included in that group of people who have been lied to, right? So how do you trust him knowing that he changes his messaging depending on what will benefit his political campaign, right? Like, how do you know when he's supposedly telling the truth? It's crazy.
Yeah, and they find a way. They have mental flexibility in that one area and no other area. I just saw a CBS YouGov poll. Who do you trust for coronavirus information? And Republicans, 90% said Trump. It was higher than the CDC. They trust him more than they trust the actual doctors who are dealing with this. And they can go back and forth. When he was saying the entire thing is a hoax, they're pretending it's going to be bad just because they want to hurt the economy. Everyone was like, yeah, it's all made up. It's all fake. When he said like a week and a half ago, I'm a wartime president, this is like a war, they said, yes, this is serious. And thank God we have Trump to deal with it. Then this week it's, oh no, we're going to be wrapped up by Easter. And they're all like, well, why are they all pretending like this is a big issue? We should be moving back to work. It's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it doesn't matter. Like, they don't care what he said. But like when he said, when you have 15 people and the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to zero, that's a pretty good job we've done, he said not too long ago. We've got 66,000 cases in the United States right now, more than 30,000 in New York alone. But he implied, we got like a dozen. It's going to be done in a couple of days. And I have not seen like a single Trump supporter on social media saying, wow, man, I really trusted him in the run up to this thing. And clearly that what he said was not true. I'm going to have to rethink this whole MAGA thing. It doesn't really seem to be getting through to anybody.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.